What came before Vocaloid? Oh, it's Vocaloid is probably the most popular vocal assistance tool available today. But it wasn't the first. So what came before? Well, let's talk about it. Oh, so the first song ever sung by a computer was Daisy Bell in 1961. I actually couldn't find much information online about how this was done, but I assume it's somewhat similar to Vocaloid vocal synthesis. Anyway, the title brain rot is going way too far. Oh, so the other day I was scrolling on YouTube as one does. Tell me why I found a title parody of that stupid calculator brain rot. And the thing is, I can't even hate on it. It's actually well made. The most concerning thing about it though is I found myself actually enjoying it. I think I need help. Subscribe for more. Anyway, they made Miku get a job. Oh, it's this style of being part of the economy. It's what I was born to do. It's a Miku song released several months ago now, and it is unnecessarily good. I don't know what they put in the song to make it this catchy, but I cannot stop listening. Corporate Miku's peak. I don't know how else to put it. Subscribe for more. Anyway, they turned Tedo into a dictator. Oh, so this is chromatic. The Vocaloid producer who makes amazing songs, and they just turned Tedo into a dictator. I genuinely don't know what inspired them to make these songs, but the storytelling in them is so good. I know I'm a little bit late to this, but I honestly just want to talk about it. Subscribe for more. Anyway, what happened to Neru? Oh, so I don't know why, but it feels like in recent years people just haven't been talking about Neru. I mean, there's only been like one popular Neru song in the last 5 years. That's kind of crazy. Low-key, Triple Block Reunion would be a fire song. That's all I'm saying. Subscribe for more. Anyway, what happened to Utah? Oh, so I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like I barely see Utah songs anymore. I know that Cynthia has become much more popular, at least for Tedo songs, but I honestly kind of miss Utah. I genuinely can't tell if people are just using it less or if it's just less popular, but either way, I wish I saw it more. I am curious though. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, my favorite Vocaloid? Oh, there are a lot of insanely good Vocaloids out there. But which is the best? Well, here's what I think. Oh, so if I had to pick, I'd probably choose Gumi. Gumi's voice bank is just so satisfying to listen to. I don't know how to describe it. To be fair, Gumi was also the first Vocaloid I ever heard, so I'm always gonna have a little bit of bias, but that's besides the point. Subscribe for more. Anyway, the most cursed fanloids? Oh, so when most people think of fanloids, they usually imagine something like Hidden Neru. But the thing is, a lot of the time, fanloids are just not like that. So here's some of the most cursed fanloids that I could find. Starting off with an absolute banger, this is AstroIDK. I genuinely just want to know why someone would make it. I still wanted that, but instead of Miku is Shitayanya. This one just feels unsettling to me, I don't know why. Next of all, we got the absolute classic Tedo. Honestly, peak concept. Finally, the most cursed one I can find is Insane Freak Day. I genuinely don't even want that. Honorable mention to Evil Tedo, such peak. Anyway, is Synthy bad? Oh, it's seriously, I've been seeing a lot of people online hating on Synthy. But is Synthy actually bad? Well, here's what I think. Oh, so personally, I actually quite like Synthy. The two main things I hear people bring up about Synthy is one, that it doesn't sound good to them, and two, the AI. Well, I can't change if someone likes the way it sounds, I can try to clarify how it uses AI. From my understanding, the only AI it uses is to help make vocals sound more natural. Basically, it's not generative AI. Subscribe for more. Anyway, my top 5 Vocaloid songs of 2025. Oh, so recently I got my 2025 YouTube recap, and on this recap it shows my top 5 most listened to Vocaloid songs of 2025. So with that being said, here they are. In 5th place we have Got It. In 4th, Egoist. In 3rd is Rock for Cloud. In 2nd, Retry Now. And finally, my most listened to song of 2025 is Jira Popoya. Anyway, this Miku song has no reason to be this good. This is Shrimp Miku. It's a joke Miku song which is over Yoga now and please shrimp check. Alright, so this song is literally just about Miku being a shrimp. That is literally it. But for some reason, this song is unnecessarily good. Like, it's been stuck in my head for months. I don't know if I'm just going crazy. Can someone please tell me? Anyway, they made Spider Dance into a Vocaloid song. It's a film where I'm actually a huge fan of both Undertale and Vocaloid. And this song somehow manages to combine both of those and make it good. The song is honestly just so fun to listen to. It's been stuck in my head all day. Thank you so much to Go Out for sending me this on stream. It's genuinely so peak. Anyway, is Tedo overrated? Oh, it's recently I've been seeing a lot of people online saying that Tedo is overrated. But is that true? Well, here's what I think. Oh, so in my opinion, Tedo is not overrated. The thing is, it's really a matter of opinion. I mean, if people call literally any popular character they don't like overrated, it's really not that uncommon. Like, even a few years ago, people were calling Miku overrated. Subscribe to Evolution, okay? Anyway, this Tedo meme feels like a fever. Oh, there have been a lot of really funny Tedo memes popping up recently, but this might genuinely be one of the most absurd yet hilarious Tedo memes I've ever seen. Oh, so this is Tedo. Tedo feels like something I'd see if I had an extremely high fever while tired. Like, don't get me wrong, it's really funny. I'm just curious what inspired someone to make this. Overall, peak me. Anyway, is Vocaloid AI? Alright, so as of recent, I've heard a lot of people call Vocaloid AI. But is it really? Well, let's talk about that. Alright, so in basic, the answer is no. Vocaloid is not AI. But then, how does it work? Well, let's talk about that. Alright, so vocalism programs work by using these things called voice banks. Essentially, voice banks are libraries of actual people saying every possible sound in a language. These sounds are then stitched together into song lyrics, which after can be tuned and turned into music. This is a slight oversimplification, but I hope it helps. Anyway, this Vocaloid song is lost media. Alright, so Vocaloid has been around for a very long time. And over that time, many songs have become lost media. One of the most popular examples of this is a song named Interface. Even after more than 6 years, there's only been around 10 seconds found. Keep in mind, there's hundreds of people actively looking for it. I find lost media like this incredibly interesting and we'll probably cover more at some point. Anyway, the first Neru song? Alright, so Neru is probably one of the most popular fanlines in existence. But what is their first song? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, so to be clear, since Neru doesn't have an actual voice bank, all the songs use alternate versions of other characters. The oldest Neru song I could find was a song uploaded in November 2007 named Wanna Speak But Wanna Sleep. The song was only officially released on Nico video and there's only one YouTube upload I could find. Overall, pretty cool. Anyway, the most popular Vocaloid artist? Alright, so the Vocaloid community has a lot of extremely talented and popular song artists. But who is the most popular? Well, let's talk about that. Okay, so from my research, the most popular Vocaloid artist on YouTube is Decker27. It's honestly crazy to me just how far ahead of everyone else they are. Like, legitimately, they have over 1 billion views. While I don't personally listen to a lot of their music, I know a lot of people really like it, so it makes sense. Anyway, Miku was used in a Google ad. Alright, so let's go back to the year 2011. Miku was extremely popular and Google launched the Google Chrome Japan channel. On this channel, 4 videos would be uploaded, one titled Google Chrome Hatsune Miku. Well, this video is literally just an advertisement of Chrome which features Miku content. I still find it cool. Anyway, this song is way too good and it's not even funny. This is Flop Error. It's an error song released a couple of hours ago now, and please come out for a second. Alright, so this song is a great mix of comedy, sounding amazing, but also sad theme. What I mean by this is that while the lyrics are catchy and the concept is funny, it also talks about the way that social media makes people's emotions rely on numbers. I honestly really like this song and would highly recommend it. Anyway, who made Kasane Tedo? Alright, so whenever I hear people talk about the origin of Tedo, I never hear anything about the actual person behind Tedo's creation. So who made Tedo? Well, let's talk about about that. Alright, so starting off, Tedo was voiced by someone named Maya Oyamada. I was unable to find how old they are, but I assume they would have been on the younger end when Tedo was created. As for who manages Tedo's use, it's a company named Procon Feature Media. Anyway, the darkest Tedo song? Alright, so I recently had the realization that I don't actually know that many insanely dark Tedo songs. However, I do know a few, so let's talk about that. Okay, so if I had to pick one to be the darkest, it'd probably be Hymn to the Decadent Life. In basic, this is a Tedo song about feeling like a loveless burden, and I absolutely love it. Well, this song is dark, I'm sure there are darker ones, and if you know any of them, let me know in the comments. Anyway, why is Tedo a depressed 20-year-old? Oh, so for some reason, it feels like half the Tedo songs I hear nowadays are either them struggling with getting a job, hating them minimum wage job, or other similar topics. This would normally be the part of the video where I explain why this started or how this happened, but I genuinely have no idea where this comes from. The only song I can think of like this is probably Regret Rock, but I'm nearly certain that is not the origin. Please let me know in the comments if you know the origin of this trend, because I genuinely have no idea. Anyway, Nine Cat is a Vocaloid song. Alright, so as you may know, the Nine Cat meme song was initially released on April 12th, 2011. But what you may not be aware of is that this song was initially created using the Vocaloid voice bit. After the song got popular, the original creator went back and made official Miku versions of the song. But from what I understand, they never got nearly as popular as the original. Anyway, why does Miku like leaks? Alright, so when you think of Miku, you probably think of a few different things. But for me personally, one of the major things I think of is actually Miku's obsession with leaks. So why is this? Well, let me explain. Alright, so it all begins with an early 2000s meme from the anime series Bleach. Basically, this meme was a looping gif of one of the characters from the show spinning a leak. In 2007, after Miku was released to the public, someone made a parody of this meme where it's Miku spinning a leak, and it was really well done. This meme was then used as the art for the Miku cover of the song Love Polka, and the rest is history. Anyway, the best Triple Baka? Alright, so Triple Baka is probably one of the greatest Vocaloid sound jokes to date. But which of the Triple Bakas is the fan favorite? Well, yesterday I decided to make a poll to ask the community just this. So who won? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, so in last place was just 20% of the votes we have there. Honestly, I feel like I expected this, but just wait, let's talk about it in general. Next of all, in second place we have Miku with just 22% of the votes. I genuinely thought Miku would get a much higher percentage, although I guess I was wrong. Finally, with a whopping 58% of the votes we have Tedo. It's legitimately crazy how much of a landslide Tedo won by, but I guess it makes sense. Anyway, who made Tedo Pair? Alright, so Tedo Pair is an insanely popular Vocaloid meme that started in like 2024. But where did it come from and who made it? Let's talk about that. According to Know Your Meme, Tedo Pair was created by user Ranchinaze on a Discord server named Tedo and Save It. After its initial posting on October 21st, 2024, the meme spread like wildfire through TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, quickly becoming a trend in the Vocaloid community. Anyway, what is the most popular Tedo song? Alright, so depending on what you're specifically asking, there are two different answers. First of all, if you include songs that don't only use Tedo, then your answer is actually Mesmerizer. But alternatively, if you only consider Tedo exclusive songs, then the answer is Tedoris. Subscribe. What was the first Gumi song? Alright, so the Gumi Vocaloid was released on June 26, 2009. And somewhat surprisingly, it only took a few days for the first song to release. This is Fun Letter, and from my research, it's the very first Gumi song ever. Despite the fact that it was released on July 8th, 2009, I honestly think it still holds up. Anyway, what was the first Tedo song? Alright, so Tedo was released on April 1st, 2008 as an April Fool's joke. Now, depending on what you consider a Tedo song, there are a few different answers, so let's talk about that. First of all, if you consider anything sung by the voice of Tedo as Tedo, Tedo's released trailer is your answer. But if you require it to actually be done through Utao and considered covers, then your answer would actually be Tori no Uta. Finally though, if you believe that it needs to be an original song using Utao, then Song of the Eared Robot is the first Tedo song. Anyway, this Vocaloid animator is literally everywhere and I don't know why. This is Channel Cast Station, an extremely talented Vocaloid animator, and please hear me out for a second. Okay, so when I say I don't know why they're everywhere, I don't actually mean they're bad at animating. Rather, what I actually mean is, how did they appear out of nowhere last year, then go on to animate the second most popular Vocaloid song ever? And not only did they animate Mesmerizer, but they also animated Rabbit Hole and Datin Room. Anyway, the first Vocaloid? Oh, so most people think of Vocaloid, they usually think of Miku. But Miku wasn't the first Vocaloid, not even close. So who was? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, so there are technically two equally right answers to this question. The two first Vocaloids are known as Leon and Lola, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't like them very much. They sound really off and don't even have characters associated with them. It makes sense why they aren't very popular. I made a fully talking about the history of Vocaloid as a whole, so you should check that out. Anyway, what was the first Miku song? Alright, so depending on what you're actually asking, there are two different answers. If you want to include official demo music, then it's 01 Ballad. But if you're looking for the first user-made one, it's a little bit more complicated. Because when we know what it is, the song was actually deleted. Its name was Paradox Love, and it was released only a few days after Miku was released to the public. Anyway, Tedo was an April Fool's joke. Let me explain. Alright, so let's go all the way back to April 1st, 2008. It's April Fool's Day, and some users of the Japanese Image Board 2 channel have a really funny idea. You see, these people are about to create who we know today as Kasane Tedo. The original intent for Tedo was literally to trick people into thinking she was a Vocaloid. I find it absolutely hilarious that in some cases, Tedo is more recognizable than some actual Vocaloids. Anyway, Miku was using a McDonald's ad. Alright, so the other day I made a video talking about how Miku was using a Google ad. But did you know that McDonald's also had a Miku advertisement? Well, they did, so let's talk about that. Alright, so this campaign actually happened earlier this year. Basically, this ad ran exclusively in Japan, and the only re-upload that I can find has under 200 views. It's honestly crazy to me how, despite being covered by multiple news sources, I don't remember ever hearing about this. Anyway, the most popular Vocaloid? Alright, so there are a lot of extremely popular Vocaloids and characters available for use today. But which are the most popular? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, so according to VocaDB, the top 5 most used Vocaloids and characters are number 5, Kasane Tedo, number 4, Gumi, number 3, Kagmin Rin, number 2, Megumi Luka, and the most used Vocaloids and character is Hatsune Miku. I also find it crazy how low Tedo is. I didn't really expect it high. Anyway, this song feels unnerving, and I don't mean that in a bad way. This is Static. It's a Vocaloid song that released just over a month ago now, and please hear me out first. Okay, so when I say unnerving, I don't mean scary or weird, I mean unnerving. The way the audio and the visuals are arranged make it feel like something is about to happen, but then nothing ever does. It's like how you feel when you're on edge and stressed out. I'm nearly 100% certain that they did this on purpose, and they did it so well. Anyway,